Since The Legend of Zelda is one of the most beloved gaming franchises out there, plenty of other developers have paid tribute to it in their own games. Welcome to MojoPlays, and today we're looking at some of our favorite Zelda Easter eggs found in other video games. But before we dive in, we publish new content all week long. So be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. A Sleepy Boy, Super Mario RPG Legend of the Seven Stars. Most people know about this one, but it's a classic. In Super Mario RPG, after you get fan-favorite Geno to join your party, you can head back to the Rose Town Inn. If you talk to the person working the front desk and choose to take a nap, you'll wake up to find Link sleeping in the bed next to yours. If you try talking to him, the classic Zelda puzzle-solving jingle will play. It's a fun little nod considering Link starts most of his adventures asleep, and thankfully, it can still be found in the 2023 remake as well. Dungeon Play, Deadpool.
Oh, I love old 8-bit games! Yeah, we do too. This game isn't old.
As you might expect from a Deadpool video game, there are plenty of pop culture references in his 2013 adventure, and one of them is for The Legend of Zelda. In Chapter 3, as Deadpool pursues some enemies through some sewers, the camera pans up to give a top-down view. You then navigate a few rooms that play like a dungeon from the original Zelda game.
2 extra slices for just $9.99. That's right, use the quads.
It doesn't last very long, but it is a nice reference, even featuring Stalfos-like skeleton enemies and music that sounds suspiciously like that heard in the original game's final dungeon. Hard Work, Call of Duty, Ghosts. During the Federation Day mission in Call of Duty Ghosts, players are tasked with navigating the offices of a skyscraper. If you stop to take a look around at a certain point, you'll notice lots of trophies scattered around. A few of them are in the shape of a green rupee and were apparently given to workers for most bushes cut and pots smashed.
The group will need to surprise them.
Didn't know you could get an award for that, but if they gave this out in Hyrule, Link would undoubtedly win it every time. Force Triangulated, It Takes Two. Speaking of smashing pots, there's a great nod to one of Link's favorite pastimes in It Takes Two. During the Cuckoo Clock level at the Gates of Time, you can find a paddle boat that leads you to a house down the river. Going inside earns you the Force Triangulated achievement or trophy. And if you've played Ocarina of Time, you'll probably notice that the layout of this room and the multitude of pots in it are a reference to the guardhouse at Hyrule's entrance in that game. Naturally, just like Link, you can smash all these pots to bits and earn a bunch of green rupees. Here Lies Link, Final Fantasy. There's a town in the first Final Fantasy game called Elfheim, which holds a lot of green-clad NPCs that will probably remind most players of Link. In the original Japanese version, you could find a gravestone that reads, "Here Lies Link," while in the American version it would read, "Here Lies Erdrick," a nod to the protagonist of Dragon Quest. However, in all subsequent ports and remakes, the gravestone has stuck with the Zelda reference, likely because Link and his series are a bit more well-known than Erdrick and his. NeverQuest,
The Simpsons Game.
I like the theme of fantasy.
Oh, I've got a fantasy. Now that we're finally away from those kids, we can, you know.
This one isn't subtle at all, but we felt we had to include it. The Simpsons Game features a ton of references and parodies of various video games, including The Legend of Zelda. In the NeverQuest level, Homer and Marge venture into a fantasy world. Not only is the name a play on the classic MMORPG EverQuest, but the two of them are dressed like the Zelda franchise's two leads. Where Marge wears a pink gown reminiscent of Zelda's attire, Homer is dressed in Link's classic green tunic and cap.
Marge, I can't control myself. You're one sexy MILF.
The word is elf, and no snuggling till we do the right thing.
Spreading the word. Ori and the Blind Forest. The Triforce is one of the most recognizable images from The Legend of Zelda, and so a few games have included nods to it to pay homage. In Ori and the Blind Forest, a brilliant Metroidvania, the story eventually leads you to Thornfelt Swamp, a dense woodland area. While navigating through, tucked into one of its corners, you can easily spot the image of the Triforce carved into a tree trunk. It seems someone in this world is a believer in the Hylian goddesses. Superfan, Fez. You don't have to go far in the puzzle platformer Fez to find this Easter egg. In fact, it's in the very first room. Inside Gomez's home, you'll spot a poster on the wall depicting a pink sky and a waterfall. Although it doesn't have the game's logo, this is the same image shown on the title screen of the original Zelda on NES. Another nod to the franchise comes not long after, right when you're about to leave the starting area. Gomez is introduced to his companion Dot while solving the opening area's puzzles. As he is about to set out on his own adventure, she stops him with a "Hey, listen," a nod to Navi, Link's companion in Ocarina of Time.
Hey, listen!
Masked Fighters, Guacamelee. This luchador-themed Metroidvania has tons of posters plastered across its backgrounds, many of which are parodies of famous video game characters like the Mario Brothers or Los Super Hermanos. Another such poster, which is also depicted in a church's stained glass window, is one for the one and only El Hero. This shows a wrestler wearing green, holding an opponent above his head like an item, with the Triforce shining in the background, a clear nod to Link. You'll find another common poster for La Mascara, a wrestler wearing what is clearly Majora's Mask, which would be pretty unfair to have in the ring. A Cheeky Lad, Donkey Kong Country 3, Dixie Kong's Double Trouble. In this DKC entry, Dixie and Kitty can buy items from Bazaar, a bear that frequently tries to squeeze more coins from you. After buying his first item, the seashell, you can ask about King K. Rool's castle. If you refuse to give him more money for the information, he'll tell you about a cheeky lad named Link. Apparently, Link also came asking about the castle, but didn't have enough coins, leading Bazaar to rip him off for 500 rupees instead. Link also complained about the shopkeep's shells being the wrong shape, a nod to Link's Awakening and that game's collectible secret shells. A Familiar Face, Super Mario Sunshine. On several levels in Super Mario Sunshine, Mario will be challenged to a race by Il Piantissimo, a short man in a Pianta costume. Some players figured out how to remove his mask by editing his model, and found a very familiar face lurking underneath. Although his skin is darker, Il Piantissimo has the same face as the running man from Ocarina of Time, and the postman from Majora's Mask. Since all these characters are known for doing an awful lot of running, it's a pretty fun Easter egg. It's dangerous to go alone. Fable 3. Said to Link by the old man who gives him his first sword in The Legend of Zelda, "It's dangerous to go alone, take this," is one of gaming's most enduring phrases. And there are a few games that have included it as a reference. In Fable 3, inside the Morningwood graveyard, digging at one of the graves earns you a toy sword, which you can give to one of your children should you choose to have any. Furthermore, if you read the gravestone, it is inscribed with that famous line of dialogue. Foreign Plant, Among Us. Unless you're the killer in Among Us, you'll be given different tasks to complete while trying to suss out which player isn't to be trusted. On the Mira HQ map, one of those possible tasks is to water the plants. When doing so, you'll likely notice that one of them looks exactly like a Korok, the little woodland folk we all hunted for in Breath of the Wild. However, although the leaf face is different, the size and shape of the plant in Among Us is similar to a specific Korok, Makar from The Wind Waker. Ode to Korok, Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Sticking with the Koroks, there's a wonderful nod to them tucked away on an island in Assassin's Creed Odyssey. At Pandora's Cove in Malice, near the edge on a small island, you can find a circle of rocks. In the middle is a figure composed of stone with stick arms and a leaf face. Not only is the figure obviously meant to represent a Korok, but the circle of rocks is also one of the more commonly occurring Korok puzzles in Breath of the Wild. Only after filling an empty spot in the circle would Link be greeted with a yahaha and given a seed used to expand his inventory. Forgotten Hero, World of Warcraft.
Alrighty then.
World of Warcraft pays tribute to multiple fantasy IPs, including Zelda. In the original version of the game, and then WoW Classic, you can find a wrecked ship in Ungoro Crater, a nod to Link's Awakening. Not far from there, in Marshall's Refuge, is a green-clad warrior gnome named Lincoln, who has lost his memories. Lincoln's questline involves magically enhancing his sword in order to defeat the Blaze Runner, a villain who stole the Golden Flame, a powerful artifact from Lincoln's homeland that just so happens to be in the shape of a triangle. Doing this for Lincoln earns you his boomerang and the aptly named Sword of Mastery. While the quest to defeat Blaze Runner is called It's Dangerous to Go Alone, the opening quest after finding the raft is named It's a Secret to Everybody, another famous line from the series. The Master Spoon, Hamtaro, Ham Ham Heartbreak. At a certain point in this adorable adventure, Hamtaro will be tasked with gathering 3 marbles. After doing so, players can take them to a pedestal, grab onto a hilt that looks remarkably like that of the Master Sword, and pull out a giant spoon. The whole sequence is obviously a parody of Link getting his legendary blade from A Link to the Past. The 3 marbles are the same colors as the 3 orb-shaped pendants Link gathers during the first part of the game. And the music even sounds like a legally distinct version of the tune that plays when Link lifts the Master Sword above his head. Powerful Croissant,
Undertale. Toby Fox's Undertale features a deep-cut reference to a minor item in the Zelda series. In the Hotlands, players will meet Muffet, an anthropomorphic spider holding a bake sale. Clicking on her croissant makes you think it looks like some sort of powerful bracelet before realizing it's just a croissant. The croissant's sprite looks nearly identical to the power bracelet found in games like Link's Awakening and the Oracle games, just turned the opposite way. The item lets Link lift and move heavy objects, but we doubt many caught this reference during their playthroughs of Undertale. Far From Home: Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare. The Wind Waker is one of my personal favorite Zelda games, and clearly someone who worked on Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare feels the same way. By the docks on the Driftwood Shores map, you can find a big red boat with the name King of Red Dandelions on the side. This is an obvious nod to Link's companion in that game, the talking boat, the King of Red Lions. Additionally, looking past the boat out to sea, you'll notice the familiar shape of the nearby landmass, as it's extremely close to that of Outset Island, Link's home in Wind Waker. They even included the watchtower and bridge that connects the island's two peaks. Shoot for the Morning Light: Tom Clancy's The Division 2. The Warlords of New York expansion for The Division 2 features one of the coolest Zelda Easter eggs. Found by the docks in the Two Bridges region is a sign that reads, "When water fills the lake, shoot for the morning light." This phrase can be found at Lake Hylia in Ocarina of Time, hinting to shoot the rising sun after completing the water temple to earn the fire arrows. This goes beyond a mere reference, though. If you do so in The Division 2, your equipped weapon will gain a magazine full of fire bullets. A pretty good thing to have, making your next firefight quite literal. A shared past. Enter the Gungeon. Enter the Gungeon is one of many indie games inspired by The Legend of Zelda, and so the developers included an unlockable character who is one giant Easter egg. The bullet starts with Blasphemy, a sword able to shoot beams so long as your health is full, an ability Link has in several games. Playing through the bullet's past reveals Blasphemy came from an older, dying relative, similar to a scene in A Link to the Past. Moreover, Bullet then has to stop the evil wizard Aghanim, a play on A Link to the Past's Aghanim. After doing so by knocking his energy blasts back at him, you face the evil king Ganon, a big pig monster that's obviously a stand-in for Ganon. Upon his defeat, you even get to stab him in the head, as several Links have done to Ganon before. The developers clearly have a specific love for A Link to the Past, though, since the bullet's alternate costume is a pink bunny, a nod to the form Link takes when he first enters the Dark World in the Super Nintendo Classic. What's one of your favorite nods to the Zelda series found in another game? Share it with us in the comments.
You're so bad. You're going to ruin this game's T for teen rating.